Hey guys, I wanted to make this tutorial today because it occurred to me that it's something that I had to learn, and if it helps somebody else, then I'd love to help. A lot of times as we're learning, as we're learning photography, there's things that we come across that really keep taking our photography to the next level. And that includes learning to really run our equipment, learning to use natural lighting, learning to use strobe lighting. And then, there's the retouching side of things as well. And so one of the things that I've learned and that hopefully will help some of you is the value of removing distractions in photos and really enhancing the photo in post-production. And so I've already edited this picture for color with one of my actions that kind of mimics film. And Sue Bryce, who is a photographer that I love, I'll have to post a link to the action if you're interested. They're only $7. But anyways, so with this picture, obviously I'm going for soft, feminine, kind of flirty and fun. And so as I'm looking at the picture, if there's anything that is deterring from that, then I want to remove it. And likewise, you'll want to identify in your picture what is the goal of your photo. And you want to identify the elements in your photo that enhance these feelings of your photo. But anyways, so in this one, for starters, this dress was about 2 sizes too big for this beautiful girl. She's really pretty, really skinny. But we had it clamped in the back with some clamps, but there's still a little bit of shape loss throughout here because the dress wasn't fitting her tightly. And then when I think feminine and soft, lots of volume in the hair, of course. And so those are the things I'm looking at in these photos. Here, I'm really distracted by this white spot in her hair, by this line. This loss of eyeliner right there needs to just be filled in. This little gap in there. Right here, the stray hair. And down below, right there in her dress, there wasn't as many layers as I would have liked, so that's the kind of like under slip part of the dress that I'm not really a fan of showing. So in post, I took it into Lightroom, or I'm sorry, I took it into Photoshop and actually grabbed this piece of the dress. I think if I tell you that and you notice, now you'll see, okay, there's kind of almost an identical piece, which is kind of strange. That shouldn't be there. But most people, I blended it pretty well, and I clone stamped out some of the other similarities, like this little piece. I removed it from here to make it blend a little bit better. But I billowed out the dress. I fit it to her body a little bit better, got rid of the stray, filled in the white areas. So your face is really drawn to her expression and the movement of the dress, which is more the goal, right? I don't want people wondering what this is. I don't want people's eye going to bright spots. And so I feel like that really enhanced the picture in that way. What do you think? And then this one, it's a front-on view, so the dress not fitting is really noticeable here. I didn't do much to this one, just fluffed the hair a little bit. I think I got rid of some of the white spots in her hair. I did right here. And so you'll see it's very subtle, but, oh, and around right here where it came off, I just pulled it over and adjusted that as well. This one, same thing. This one, really noticeable, the dress, that it's ill-fitting, and we're off the background right here. Some crazy stuff going on up there. So I just teased her hair, brought the dress in, pulled the backdrop over, so that her eyes are more the focus and you're not being distracted by things that don't matter. Like, I know this is really nitpicky, but this really bugs me. And I got rid of it just using the heel brush. Not much to it. It's pretty simple. Let's look at this photo here. Okay, now here's another photo. Very simple. I just wanted to add a little bit of volume to her hair. Pinch the dress in just a bit. Nothing too drastic. But, I mean, doesn't that to you, am I wrong here, or does that really make a difference for you guys as well? Let's see. Let's find one that we can work on together. Let's do this one. So you can start editing the small distractions or liquifying first. It's really whatever you feel like. I'm going to liquify first. And so if you guys don't know about the mask tool, this isn't really a tutorial on liquifying though, so I'm not going to get too in depth. But over here you can use the mask and you can paint on anything that you don't want to move. Like I would not want her hands to move. That could go bad. So we'll go ahead and do that. And you want to mask over just a little bit. You see I didn't only just mask the hand, I went up the arm a little bit because it will still pull a little bit at the edges of whatever you masked off. And so we're going to pull out her hair just a little bit. And you want to keep your brush just larger than whatever it is you're working on. A, so you're not affecting things that you don't want to affect. And B, it just gives you a lot better control. Now here, one of the things that I've noticed is when you're teasing it, you don't want to tease it into a perfect little round shape. I mean, I wouldn't perfectly round that out. That's not going to look right. But you'll have to practice with that for yourself. It's kind of a preference thing, I suppose, too. As you're liquifying around the edges, too, you want to be careful if you pull the background off like that. You can either just go take a step back or you can pull it back over and fix it. So let's bring the dress in just a little bit right here. And we're going to put the point right on the edge of her waist and pull. And I'm kind of watching her arm to make sure I didn't end up grabbing any of that, which I didn't. So that's good. And I know this is just her bone shape, but I'm just going to smooth out that little part of her elbow. And not overly so. Be careful. You don't want it to look like her arm shouldn't be straight either. You need to make sure that you're honoring the curves of the body as you're making changes. It's kind of you know, I'm not going to say that I don't maybe go overboard sometimes too on that. I'm going to affect her shoulder, but I'm going to take the mask off to do that. So we're going to bring it down because I don't want to pull on her face. And bringing the shoulders down just elongates the neck. If you're trying to slim somebody down as well, the neck is a good spot. People always forget to do that. They'll snip in the waist and the arms and then not do the neck, and you don't want to do that because that kind of gives you away. Now as you're moving these as well, it's important to note that you're stretching the pixels. It's not making new data. So if you take this waist in from here to here, it's got to stretch and fill in those pixels. So you do want to be careful to not ruin your picture doing that, overdoing it. But it takes practice. It's, again, I'm not claiming to have it down perfectly either, so I'm going to mask her, a little smaller, I'm going to mask her hand. And then I want to just add a little bit more volume to this dress right here because it's already kind of blurry down there from the lens I use. I find that it's not really, that it'll be fine. But I want it to reach towards her hand a little bit more. I'm holding down this command key on my Mac to kind of zoom in on the face a little bit. And I'm just gonna, again, for the sake of soft and femininity, I'm just kind of enhancing, pulling out her eyes and her mouth a little bit to make the picture even more feminine. She's very beautiful, so this is a matter of taste. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Your picture may not need it. And I'm going to take some of the volume out of the hair because I think I overdid it a little bit. Kind of like for it to go in right there, like it gives it more of that pin-up sort of look. What do you guys think? Now hair is one of those things that really does blur a lot as you're making changes to it, so try not to get carried away. I think I got a little bit carried away on this case, but it's not terrible. So let's see the before and after. And sometimes if you did get carried away, you can always go back in there, just go into your history and click back and you can take off all the changes. But what do you guys think? I feel like that really adds a lot to the photo for me. Does it for you? I do want, I'm going to bring this in a tiny bit more because it'll make this seam even wider. I can't keep pulling this out, but I can bring her waist in a little bit, and it will make the eye think that that's bigger down there, consequently. Okay. So I like that. Now here's where I'm going to make a duplicate layer. You can just click your layer and drag it down to there as well to do that. Now this part is bugging me. I know that is just an armpit, no big deal, but my eye keeps going to it, and it's not enhancing the femininity or anything that I want to enhance in the photos, so we're just gonna get rid of it. And I'm using the clone brush, but you could use whatever you want. Again, this isn't a tools tutorial. It's just more of a what to get rid of tutorial. And I'm not doing the most perfect job because we're trying not to make this an hour-long tutorial, but obviously you'll want to take your time to make these changes look natural. Use sometimes if there's a lot of pattern going on, like grass, the heel tool is the best job because it'll look more natural. And another thing to note is I did add grain to this photo, which it's a bad idea to sit here and do all these changes on a photo with grain because you're going to stretch that grain out and make the changes more obvious. Okay. So there's lots of little hairs on her face, which is very annoying and distracting. So you could pull those off. These are things that I think when you first start shooting, you're like, oh, I can Photoshop that later. No worries. And then you've Photoshopped the fine hair off of 40 pictures once or twice, and you realize, you know what? Next time I'm just gonna move that damn hair off her face instead of leaving it there for myself for later and making a way ton more work, right? So again, just getting the stray hairs off. I'll lower the opacity, and I just want to kind of clean up what the heel brush tool didn't do the perfectest job right there. Okay. Does this bother you guys? This hole? Is that me being nitpicky again? Or what do you guys think? Should we fill it in? We can clean this up too. I'm going to do it the lazy way. Take a big, huge brush. And then mask it. Bring the opacity down so you can see what you're doing. Take your black brush, 100%, and erase it back off the dress. So there's our before shot, and there is our after. Okay, so this needs to get fixed over here too, our wall, because it messes with the dress right there. So I'll just do the same thing with that as the clone, but I think you guys get the point. I won't make you watch me do that. Anyways, I hope you guys found this helpful. And if there was something that I missed or something you would do that I didn't do, please leave a comment. I would love to hear it. I don't think I know everything, so it's always interesting to see other people's perspectives. Thanks for watching, and see you guys later. Bye.